What if every team in the NFL looked at you, watched you play, studied your film, ran your numbers, and decided you weren't worth a single one of their draft picks? What if 258 players heard their name called before yours? What if the entire league, every scout, every front office, every analyst who gets paid to evaluate quarterback talent collectively agreed that you were the last option? That you were, by definition, the least valuable player in the entire draft class?
The 47th Mr. Irrelevant 2022, with the 262nd pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Brock Purdy, a quarterback from Iowa State. Go Niners!
What if that was the verdict? Official, final, documented, last pick, Mr. Irrelevant.
This is John Lynch from the 49ers. We find you very relevant, but you are going to be Mr. Irrelevant.
The 262nd pick.
I'm part of that fraternity, of being the last draft pick.
San Francisco 49ers select.
It's something that, I wear with honor.
Brock Purdy.
Oh, you're part of a different fraternity now, my friend.
The guy you take when you've already taken everybody else. That was Brock Purdy in May of 2022. Except the NFL forgot to tell Brock Purdy what that was supposed to mean. To understand what happened to Brock Purdy, you have to understand what Mr. Irrelevant actually is. Ever since 1976, the final player selected in the NFL draft has been given that title. It's not a compliment. It's not a tradition anyone celebrates with genuine warmth. It's the NFL's way of acknowledging, with a touch of ceremony, that this particular player is the absolute bottom of the barrel. The last name on the list after every team has exhausted every other option on their board. Of hundreds of Mr. Irrelevants before him, nearly all of them were out of the league within a year or two. Most never took a meaningful snap. That is the tradition Brock Purdy was inheriting. Coming out of Iowa State, Purdy had put up legitimate numbers. 4 years as a starter, over 12,000 passing yards, 93 touchdowns. He was productive, poised, and by every measure, a capable college quarterback. But the NFL has a specific set of criteria it uses to evaluate the position. And Purdy kept coming up short on the ones the league considered non-negotiable. The arm wasn't elite. The athletic profile wasn't what teams were chasing. He wasn't a prototype. And the NFL in 2022 was a league deeply in love with prototypes. So round after round went by. 225 picks, 240, 250, names you've never heard of, specialists and projects and long shots, all went before him. And finally, with the 262nd and final pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers selected Brock Purdy out of Iowa State.
The 47th Mr. Irrelevant 2022, with the 262nd pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Brock Purdy, a quarterback from Iowa State. Go Niners!
The broadcast barely covered it. There was no dramatic moment, no family jumping off a couch, just a name at the end of a very long list, and the quiet, unspoken understanding that this was probably where the story ended. It was just the beginning. When Brock Purdy arrived at Santa Clara for his first training camp as a San Francisco 49er, he was the third quarterback on the depth chart. Third, behind Trey Lance, the overall pick in the 2021 draft, a franchise investment the 49ers had traded up to make, a two-time Pro Bowl alternate who had taken this same team to a Super Bowl. Third string on most NFL rosters is not a football job. It's a practice squad audition. You hold a clipboard, you run the scout team, because you're paid to study the playbook. not because anyone genuinely expects you to use it on a Sunday. That was Brock Purdy's actual role on this team. The 2022 49ers were a legitimate Super Bowl contender before a single regular season game was played. Kyle Shanahan had built one of the most creative offensive systems in football. The roster was deep, physical, and experienced. All they needed was the quarterback to stay healthy. He didn't. In week 2 of the regular season, Trey Lance suffered a season-ending ankle fracture. Gone. Just like that, the franchise quarterback the team had mortgaged picks to acquire was done for the year. Jimmy Garoppolo slid into the starting role, and the 49ers kept winning, 6-4 after 10 games, right in the thick of the NFL playoff race. And then, Garoppolo went down too. Foot injury, also season-ending. In the span of 10 weeks, the San Francisco 49ers had lost both of their quarterbacks, which meant Kyle Shanahan, one of the most respected offensive minds in football, a man whose scheme demands precision, timing, and mastery of a system that takes years to fully understand, had to hand the offense to Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick, the guy nobody wanted. And the 49ers had 6 games left in the regular season. His first start was against the Miami Dolphins, a playoff team, a defense that had been one of the better units in the AFC all season long. Purdy completed 25 of 37 passes for 210 yards and 2 touchdowns. San Francisco won. The following week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady's team, a Super Bowl contender, Purdy threw for 185 yards and 2 more touchdowns. San Francisco won again. Then the Seattle Seahawks, then the Washington Commanders, then the Las Vegas Raiders. 5 starts, 5 wins. The 49ers didn't just survive with their 7th-round rookie at quarterback. They thrived. The offense didn't shrink. Shanahan's system didn't simplify. Purdy ran the whole thing, the pre-snap reads, the play-action timing, the shot plays down the field, and it worked every single week. The NFL had no framework for what it was watching. The conversation split immediately and loudly into 2 camps. One camp said Purdy was genuinely good, a legitimate starting quarterback who was showing the league exactly why its evaluation process had failed him. The other camp said the system was doing the work and that any competent quarterback plugged into Kyle Shanahan's offense with Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey would put up those numbers, and that Purdy was a product, not a player. Both camps were about to get more information than they bargained for. San Francisco finished the regular season at 13-4, NFC West champions, and Brock Purdy, the last pick in the draft, the guy who wasn't supposed to be there, was their starting quarterback headed into the playoffs. In the divisional round of the playoffs, Brock Purdy faced the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, a 50-plus year brand built on the idea that they are the gold standard for professional football. Purdy put together one of the most efficient playoff performances of the entire weekend. He was sharp, decisive, and completely unintimidated. The 49ers won 19-12, 1 win away from the Super Bowl. The NFC Championship game, Levi's Stadium, the Philadelphia Eagles, the #1 seed in the NFC, the team with the best record in the conference, a roster built to win a championship right now. This was the biggest game Brock Purdy had ever played in his entire life. He lasted 7 plays. On the 8th snap of the game, Purdy was hit as he released the throw. The impact tore the UCL in his throwing elbow. He went down. He tried to come back, threw a pass with his non-dominant hand, refused to leave the field. But it was over. The injury was severe. The arm that had been the most surprising weapon in football for 6 consecutive weeks was done for the day. San Francisco lost 31-7. It wasn't close. Without Purdy, the offense had nothing. And in the aftermath, the conversation that started during the regular season came screaming back at full volume. Was Purdy even the reason they were winning? If the system is so good, why did it fall apart the moment he left? And if he was the reason, what does a torn UCL mean for what comes next? Is this a story with a sequel, or was the whole thing a one-season anomaly built on favorable circumstances and a fortunate schedule? Those were real questions, fair questions, and Purdy spent the entire offseason answering them the only way that actually counts. Tommy John surgery. That is what a UCL tear in the throwing elbow means for a quarterback. It is a months-long recovery, a complete reconstruction of the ligament that controls everything: the snap, the spiral, the velocity, the touch. For most players, the elbow that comes back is not quite the same as the one that got hurt. It takes a full season, sometimes longer, before the arm truly feels like yours again. Brock Purdy did his surgery in February. He was throwing again by training camp, which was remarkable on its own, but the physical recovery was only half of it. Because while Purdy was rehabbing, the football world had an entire offseason to dissect every snap of his 2022 run and render its verdict. And the verdicts were not kind. The system argument got louder. Analysts ran comparisons, other quarterbacks in the Shanahan scheme, other players that had looked better than they were in similar offensive structures. The implication was clear. Purdy had been a passenger in a very sophisticated vehicle, not the driver. The UCL tear was framed in some corners as the moment the curtain got pulled back. None of that noise stopped him from showing up every day and putting in the work. When 2023 training camp opened, there was a legitimate competition at the quarterback position in Santa Clara. Trey Lance was back. Sam Darnold was on the roster. The 49ers had options. And yet, when the regular season kicked off, Brock Purdy was the starter. Not because of sentiment, not because of what he had done the year before, because when they watched him practice, when they ran him through the offense, when they saw what the arm looked like on the other side of that surgery, the answer was obvious. He was the best quarterback on the roster again. Here's what I keep coming back to when I think about Brock Purdy. 261 players were considered more valuable than him by every team in the National Football League. This is not one team making a mistake. That is 32 franchises, each with their own scouting departments, their own data analysts, their own coaching staffs evaluating quarterback talent, all of them looking at the same player and arriving at the same conclusion. He goes last. He is irrelevant. And then he went out and started 11 consecutive games, won 10 of them, carried a team to one win away from the Super Bowl, and came back from major surgery to do it all over again. The system argument will never fully go away. Kyle Shanahan is extraordinary. The weapons around Purdy are extraordinary. None of that is wrong. But here's the thing about the system argument. Every quarterback in the NFL plays within a system. Every one of them has weapons. Every one of them has a coaching staff designing the offense around what they do well. The system does not throw the ball. The system does not stand in the pocket and process a defense in 2 seconds and find the right answer. The quarterback does that. And Brock Purdy did it week after week in the regular season and in the playoffs against some of the best defenses in football. What this story is really about is not a quarterback. It's about what happens when an entire industry builds a consensus around a player and that player simply refuses to honor it. The NFL told Brock Purdy exactly what he was worth. 262 picks deep, last on the list, Mr. Irrelevant. He had a different number in mind. The last pick in the 2022 draft. The quarterback nobody was supposed to believe in. The player 32 teams passed on. Starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. And the NFL still does not have a clean explanation for how that happened. Drop a comment. Is Brock Purdy a legitimate franchise quarterback, Or is he the greatest system product the NFL has ever seen? Genuinely want to know where you land on this one. And if you think someone got passed over even harder than Purdy, tell me who. We might cover it next.